Welcome Cancer to your in-depth monthly forecast for March 2025. It's a giant month for activity featuring your ruler, the moon, because we have two eclipses, but they're in two different eclipse series, and that's particularly pertinent because eclipses are tethered to the nodal axis. So right at the start of this month, the combination between Mercury, the communicator, Neptune, the planet of mystique, but also the North Node in your sister water sign of Pisces suggests a desire to expand your horizons. But any interest you have, whether it is through travel, if it is through creativity or artistry, in some way or another, I feel this is a month when you're wanting to raise your profile, and that's going to become even more obvious as the month goes on. But it begins with that combination of energy in Neptune. But it's a planet that's in your sector of success that also provides a narrative early on. On the second, Venus, the planet of relating, but also of money, goes into a retrograde, one which is going to go on through to the middle of April. It suggests that your contacts, particularly initially, whilst it's in Aries, with people in positions of influence, can benefit from diplomacy. But we're also going to see Mercury move into your sector of success on the 3rd. And the two, Venus and Mercury, are going to be collaborating in a very positive way right at the start of this month. So far, so good. We also have Venus forging a terrific link to Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of fortune, but at the present time, at the start of the month, it continues its long journey through a more spiritual part of your scope. So it may be that you're talking about something that is very important to you at a deeper level that creates an opportunity. It may be a relationship, it may be something to do with healing or connecting to like-minded people. Now we're going to see on the 11th an exact conjunction between Mercury and Venus. If you're applying for a job, despite the fact that Venus is in retrograde, this could see something come up which really does excite you. But also we're going to see on the 14th a lunar eclipse, and this very much to do with that North Node in Pisces, because it's a lunar eclipse that sees the moon in an opposition with not just the sun, but also the strict and sometimes restrictive energies of Saturn. How you think, how you express yourself, but also your belief systems are really going to come under the astral microscope. If you're doing something professionally, for example, that you're not really enjoying, I feel that the fact that Mercury goes retrograde the day after, like Venus in your sector of success, it could be because you don't feel that you can communicate with the people that you're working with or for, or perhaps you don't feel enough mental stimulation, or perhaps it's an environment that's somewhat repressive, because Saturn applying to the Sun in the 9th house can make you much more aware of the values that you hold truly dearly. Now also in week 2 of this month, Cancer, the Sun is going to get perfectly aligned to Saturn, and that cazimi occurs on the 12th, and that's going to be an important time too, just before the lunar eclipse. But remember, the lunar eclipse provides a backdrop for the following 6 months, so it's not just for 2 weeks. So if you do work somewhere where you feel it's difficult to express yourself, the more restrictive and restraining energies of Saturn can make you aware of that. But it can work to your advantage, this lunar eclipse. If you're wanting to study something and you're prepared to really apply yourself to the topic, you have a great opportunity in the next half year to actually gain some kind of certification or qualification that can give you a boost when it comes to those professional aspirations. But the 20th sees the vernal equinox, the most important date of the whole Western tropical astrological year, because it's the start of the new cycle. Here the Sun moves into the sign of Aries, joining up with Mercury and Venus. But in the case of Venus, this particular year's spring equinox is right by Venus. And I feel that that can bring opportunities for you, particularly because they're both linking back to Pluto, the planet of transformation, which for you is now in the part of your situation that's very much to do with deep transformation and transformation around where you're most invested. Perhaps business-wise, perhaps financially, perhaps even romantically. But because the spring equinox is asking you to think about your role and connection to the world at large, again, if something isn't quite working for you, particularly with Venus retrograde and being to do with money, you may decide to actually move away from something that does have benefits but doesn't really engage you. It doesn't really make your soul come alive. Now, you know that Mars, the planet of assertion, the planet of action, but also of impatience, was retrograde in your sign from the 6th of January to the 24th of February. But Mars is edging forwards, and it does provide a window of opportunity for you week 3 of this month. And if there is something that you're excited about and you want to be more spontaneous about, Mars is linked to Uranus, can certainly give you a lot of get-go when it comes to breaking free and being much more spontaneous and dynamic in the moment. But we do have Venus inverting back into Pisces on the 27th. Now, in technical terms, Venus within that retrograde is happier in Pisces than she is in the sign of Aries. It's just that by the 29th we have the solar eclipse, the last in the series between Libra and Aries, this one in Aries. This is emphasizing again how you connect to that wider world. And this solar eclipse is very, very powerful for sure, and provides a 6-month window of opportunity when you can be more ambitious. So whatever goals and ambitions you've got, this is the time to set your intentions in a very meaningful way. But the 30th sees Mercury in its retrograde inversing back into Pisces. So if there is something that you've grappled with professionally and perhaps gained some kind of recognition, perhaps raised your profile, perhaps been quite pleased to be in the limelight, but if it doesn't feel right, the energy at the end of the month, particularly when Neptune moves into Aries as the month draws down, suggests that you may decide to separate yourself, have some kind of time out. It could be through a vacation, it could be through a vocation. But if you're not happy in your professional situation, whether it's the environment, the work you do, the processes you go through, the people you have to interact with, perhaps it's your beliefs that are challenged by the particular organisation you're in, by the end of this month, the very thing that was calling out to you at the very start of the month, as Mercury aligned with Neptune and the North Node in a way which was really pushing you to open up and be much more spiritually in touch with what you need, that's demanding your attention as this month draws to a close. Have a great month, Cancer. If you've yet to check out my new website, please go to www.patrickarundell.com. You can grab yourself my special offer of your combination reports, of your life roadmap report, the most important document anyone could ever read, that helps us to understand the patterns that are played out in our existence so far, but also your 12 months transit report as well. And there's 30% off. Each of these is totally unique to the person it's produced for. If you don't know your time, you can have my solar option. If you prefer to have whole sign, you can choose that. Or if you'd like to check out your draconic possibilities, your soul chart, you can also get any of those 30% off too. Please see the link below for more.